All right, Jan, Matt, Rory, here it is, Gran Turismo 7.
What? Excellent.
I thought this was a card game.
It's more of a life game. Cars are merely a part of life.
Is this why the supply shortage happened? We just stopped making cars in 2020?
Yeah, basically between Brexit here and the fires in Australia,
Jesus.
and hey, they launched a rocket, and the French Open happened, and they started vaccinating people in 2021, and remember when the ship happened?
Yeah, that got stuck. That was fun.
Yeah, well,
That was fun, right? Out of all those things that happened,
Out of all of those things, it was either that or the French Open, I guess, right? Hey, Tiger Woods, bring plenty of cash.
There we go.
Esports. Hey, remember these good times, 2018? The good old days. These guys.
All right.
And then also cars. This is the museum mode. It's ridiculous. So like this is the Chevrolet museum. And so on the top here, you can go through like what happened with Chevy. And it's like, hey, in 2001, we did that, but also in 2001, this guy.
Okay. All right. It's good to get perspective, right?
The DVD-ROM equipped PlayStation 2 arrives. The system is equipped with interfaces comparable to those of a PC, including a DVD-ROM drive, USB, and iLink ports.
Oh my God.
Everyone used the iLink port on their PlayStation 2.
Constantly. Multi-tap? Never. iLink?
Never.
Yes.
I can't think of one single device that actually connected to that thing now that I think about it.
The headset? No.
That would have been USB.
Yeah, right. USB.
The iLink is like a FireWire kind of thing almost, right? I don't
I don't even remember. Been too long.
Yeah. The Millennium Bug. I feel like this captures kind of the vibe of Gran Turismo pretty well, where it's just kind of, I don't know. It's
I don't know what this is going for, but I appreciate it.
I don't appreciate it. This is way too much real world stuff in a racing game about fast cars.
The cars are also directly from the real world, like this 2016 Camaro SS. So they've tried to kind of ground it there and say like, hey, here's the history of these cars, and it's
so weird.
It's a very sterile video game.
Yeah. Sure.
Like that's its vibe, right? It's like, hey man, let's flip through these car brochures of these cars you're never going to be able to afford, and then we get to this main menu. I still have not opened up. There's still, you see these two items, these two buildings over there on the left. Maybe that building down by the water is a thing eventually,
docks,
these things have opened up as I've completed the various menu books, which is the form of progression.
Okay.
Here, and the menu books basically tell you what to do and where to go as you're unlocking stuff. And some of them are things like, well, I think we can just kind of, we can go in here. We can look at this menu book. This menu book is very simple. It's just go to the Tokyo Highway Parade race and finish in the top 3.
Okay.
Most of them so far have been like, collect these 3 cars, and you can do that by winning them in specific races, and it will highlight those races with this little icon above the world circuits here and tell you where you need to go. Or you can just go to the store and buy them. Something I kind of want to point out here before we get too far into it is that at any point on any one of these menus, you can go up to your credit count and hit this and get your balance. But also there's just straight up a top up.
Ooh.
And I don't think these are, the game's not quite out yet, so that stuff's not quite live, but like there's just a real, I don't know.
When I go to the gas station, they tell me not to top up, so I'm going to take that advice in Gran Turismo as well.
Yeah, probably smart. But yeah, it seems like very much that the microtransaction here is going to be buying credits, so you can just buy cars, which I don't know that I'm a huge fan of. Let's get into a race, though. It's why we're here. This Tokyo Highway Parade race has a suggested PP of 450.
Yeah. Oh, good PP.
Yeah. I've leveled this Civic up to 504. It looks like. So
is there a penalty for going over?
It doesn't seem like there's a penalty for going over. Okay. You'll have some races, I assume, later on. We'll go to the tuning menu real quick since we're talking about it. There are parts that can reduce your PP.
Yeah.
Like a power restrictor. Here, if your PP is too much for people, you can you can strap this on there, and that'll help, I guess, get your numbers down. Yeah, see intake restrictors and stuff like that. We can get but I've basically upgraded this car to mostly the club sports parts. We could go in here and let's go from 504 to 528. Why not?
All right.
And in the late game, you'll be more, you can be more hands-on with that tuning if you so desire. But so far, it's just been like buy part, equip part, number go up.
No camber adjustments yet.
Not yet. I think I think we go into the setup here when we actually get into a race. I think those are adjustments I could literally make here. We're going to go with our sports soft tires, but
soft and
look at this.
Yeah. So we can.
Wow. This doesn't look like the most friendly UI I've ever seen for this kind of stuff, but in the end, it is all in one place, which is not terrible. I mean, I never really have ever gotten down too far with the kind of super intricate adjustments. Last Gran Turismo I played was probably a PS2 one, and I got pretty into it, but it's been a long time since I've been super into Sims. But how are the certs in this? Are they tough?
I've only had to do one. I've only had to get my B license in order to enter this specific race, and that's Hey, look, we'll go look at that real quick up here in the license center. This is my least favorite part of Gran Turismo for the 25 years of its existence. But I will say that this getting the B license, not especially difficult. It's like, hey, take a corner, and these are all timed. Like, hey, do it in 12 seconds to get a bronze or whatever, and bronze is still passing. So, I still passed and got my B license with all silvers. You can see I unlocked a car for getting all bronze there at the bottom. But if I get all gold, there would be a.
It's so weird how challenging the accreditation is, or the certification of this game is, because without other cars, it should be like just execute. But it is the time. If you've never played Gran Turismo, the timing on these things is pretty sensitive, and for some reason, doing it by yourself is a weird kind of mind game against your own brain. Where, yeah, man, I've tried these hundreds of times in some of these games, and they are really tough to get a good score on. Yeah,
I will say that at least the B license here, like this stuff is very much like stuff you're going to need to know to do well driving, period. So, I suspect there will come a time if I stick with this and get up to like International A or something where these license tests are the point when I very much stop playing the game. That's how it's classically been. I'll say up front, I think this game is gorgeous, but also it's so sterile and so muted in its enthusiasm, and the music and just the vibe of it just is not really.
I was gonna mention that the menus so far kind of evoke that of a car OS.
Yeah, and I'd say that this is still better than most car OSs I've used, but the game very much is you go to the cafe and then you get a menu from the guy who runs the cafe, and that's where the thing that'll kind of point you in the direction you need to go in terms of, hey, go get these 3 cars or go.
Are there actually people talking to you about what you're supposed to do, like in other certain racing games?
Not with voice, but I can click on this and just be like,
hey, Rick.
Hello.
It's so different because, the biggest, I think most people's experience with racing games nowadays is probably Forza Horizon. They've had a bunch of those, and those are all over the place with the Game Pass, and they're so in your face with this kind of stuff. It's kind of nice to have it a little more reserved.
This game is like you're inside a cafe and it's raining outside, and your sweet car is parked out front, and you're like very you're smoking thin cigarettes and hanging out in Tokyo, and
it's very lo-fi hip hop to chill and relax to.
Yeah. Not, the whole soundtrack is not necessarily that, but I will say
the vibe of it.
Not a fan of the soundtrack. So let's drive. I am playing with the middle level of assistance, which means I think we're getting braking assistance, but not steering assistance. Let's go through a few different. I'm torn here because I want to win because I don't want to do this again, but also I want to show the cockpit view. But this is the view I've been driving from, is this bumper cam.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. And so this is the first race I've done that hasn't necessarily just been a straight up track. And I always like the look of the Tokyo Highway when it is represented in video games. And so I'm excited to see how this looks. Well, we're not going to get the clean race bonus now. Might as well just get nuts. You get, I think it's a 50% bonus to the money you earn if you race clean.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so
it's a pretty decent incentive, I guess.
That's an interesting driving lane there. That hard red that goes across the entire thing if you got to really brake.
Yeah, really sucks if you're colorblind and don't see red really well.
Is there no option for?
We'll go in and we'll go in and triple check because the game has been patched today, and I'm firing it up for the first time today, and it's out tomorrow. But so far, my big problem with the game compared to other motorsport video games on the market is that many of them are better about letting you change the color of this line.
Sure.
Here's my question for you. Is this line on the ground changing color at all?
I see it as mostly yellow the entire way through. No, it's not doing the Forza thing where it does green and red. It's all yellow.
Yeah, I kind of like from an assistance perspective. And when I start these games, I always start with assistance on and then turn them off as I get more comfortable with it. And the thing I like is that that multicolored line of here's when you should let off the gas.
Yeah, no, it's not doing that at all.
It's solid yellow throughout the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'm assuming you can adjust that somewhere, but that's an interesting choice.
So there's basically like 3 levels, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star that you choose early on, and the assistance is tied to the guideline is tied to that, and also the braking and steering assistance is tied to that. At the lowest level, you will get some steer assist.
Okay.
I gotta say, graphically, this looks kind of bland for a game that's coming out in 2022. It's not like really popping. Forza is a whole different thing. That's kind of the one touchstone I have to compare it to, and like Wreckfest and things like that, which are big and bold in interface. But it's definitely more realistic kind of view. But like in terms of graphical bells and whistles, this seems to be pretty, you said muted early on.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say that applies. I think it looks very nice, but it also is like the game has a very sterile look to it.
Yeah, style-wise, it's not popping, but the buttons are there, the creases are there.
Yeah. And now that I'm a little further ahead, maybe we'll...
Yeah, you are.
The cockpit views, I think, are usually pretty nice. There's some stuff here and there where, like, the lighting inside the cockpit is really striking and dramatic, and then sometimes it seems like it is not correct for the situation, so it's a little all over the place. But
can you customize this to kind of like not be reflective of the actual car you're driving, like add some bits and bells and whistles?
No, this is basically your cockpit view is the view of the car itself.
Right.
So those change. The hands on the wheel look good. That sort of stuff. It's just not. It's not how I like to drive in these games. I used to be third person all the way in every single driving game, and now I only do that in arcade style racing games and drive bumper cam in serious racing games.
Yeah, I love bumper cam for a lot of. I used to play a lot of. Oh God, not GTR. What was the? I forget what that big Dreamcast game was.
Metropolis Street Racer.
Yeah, something like that. I remember doing a lot of bumper cam with that and having a really great time. Lately, though, for almost everything else, especially any kind of like third-person open world game, I'm all third-person. You got to see the world around you, but definitely for immersion and stuff like that. If I want to play a cool game, it's either cockpit or bumper. But for the most part, yeah, third person, way out behind the car is way easier in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, like Gran Turismo does, it drops you directly into a replay of the race, and this looks very nice. There's a graphical setting for, like, it's actually confusing text about turning basically like ray tracing on or off, and it's like ray tracing will still be available in the replay mode, but not in, the language is not immediately clear, but it does have a graphical toggle for that sort of stuff. This is a 2 race championships. Now we're going to do the same track, but backwards.
Uh-oh.
So forgive me if you've seen this before, but we're in it, so we got to do it. What's this guy have to say? these don't add to anything to the game for me. And some of these are real people.
I was gonna ask, was that a real racer? Car person?
I think that some of these are car people, and some of these may be Gran Turismo esports people. I don't actually, but or like Gran Turismo people.
I don't
And
get
some
what the
grand-
point of that was. Like, he just said, you see me driving this car.
Yeah, it was like, hey,
great.
I like this car. I am from Hungary. You're like, oh, okay.
Kindergarten, go around the room and then introduce yourself and your favorite
Yeah,
car.
it's real. Like a lot of the text, a lot of the character dialogue in this game is that. it's a choice. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we get some rain. That's cool.
Jeff,
Weather
is that
changes
auto
everything.
drive thing that was popping off on the bottom? Was that just pre-race stuff?
Yeah, that's pre-race. Like that's the part of the rolling start. That's kind of before I take control, and I'm just driving. I'm not driving my best, but we're talking. We're having a good time. So
Yeah, the guy from Hungary threw you off. I
yeah,
get it. Mind games, just doing a vanilla introduction.
just walks over and
Break
goes,
your leg
hello.
today, buddy. You're gonna do
I like to
great.
drive a Suzuki Swift. I am from Hungary. Like, what? Is this guy trying to kill me?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Those cars that keep showing on the right, that's as I pass a car, it just tells you what car you passed every
That's
single
kinda
time. Yeah.
Is this a Nissan 350Z?
It's an
That's
Audi.
an Audi. No.
It's not even named like the name of the person. It's just the car make. So
Yeah.
That's all that matters, Rory.
yeah.
Where's our friend from Hungary?
Is this him?
No, that was not a Suzuki Swift. You'll see on the left it shows the names, and that guy is. Oh,
Oh no, yep.
I
That's
was
big.
looking over at the names. It just
hard
blew
red
into this
zone there.
turn. The auto braking kind of saved me there.
So are you outclassing these people because of your car? I'm assuming.
Seems like it. Yeah. It seems like they recommend a certain PP, but since I have gone over, it doesn't feel like these cars are necessarily
Yeah.
in the same class. The game does put you in a position after the first, I don't know, six or so menu books where you where you need to
Driving like a cyberpunk car there for a second.
you need to start tuning your cars, and you need to drive a European car, and all you have is this Mini Cooper that you cannot get to 400 pp with the current if you're just using what the game has given you. And so I tried to race with a car that was about 40 pp under the recommendation,
No.
and was just getting blown away on the straights, and couldn't finish third. I would finish fourth every time. I would get into third in like the last turn, and then blow it in the straightaway leading up to the finish.
Do you still get
And
some credits for like a fourth place? Like you
you
get some
do,
kind
but
of
like
progress?
a lot
Not
of these
much.
things will be like you need to finish third or higher to
yeah,
progress.
yep.
So, or to earn the gift car you're needing to proceed. So that was, it didn't come out and tell you this, but it seemed like the answer there, at least for me, was to go to the used car store and buy a better car.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Was this game delayed at all? Is this original release date or?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I haven't heard any like huge delays, and I should probably look this up before I ask it. But I'm like kind of curious about how like COVID would affect something like this, because I remember when I was playing Gran Turismo back in the PS2, PS3 era, they were
We could
always
go back to the
flying.
museum and we could learn more about COVID. If you
Yeah,
want.
maybe. But they're always flying teams out to do like intricate audio-visual recording on these rare cars around the world to get them perfect for the game. I'm sure they still have some of that reference stuff in the library, but for a game like Gran Turismo, it's like still you kind of have to be around the car to model it
Yeah.
accurately for this kind of thing. And I'm curious if COVID like restricted the travel enough to maybe tamp down their library of cars or something else.
So I feel like the library of cars is something that I'm not super into. When it comes to these games, this and Forza, which I think are kind of, in the same class. Not Horizon. Horizon's obviously like going for a more open world, different thing, but motorsport. I am interested in souping up production model cars. I do not want race cars. I think that race cars are freaking boring.
Yeah. I used to be just a Corvette in MSR, drive the street racing and just try to tune it as best I could.
Yeah.
I like those real cars for sure.
And so like this game, when you go to some of these manufacturers, they'll have like one production model car and then like 8 different race cars.
Yep.
And you're just like, this is not interesting to me. And so I am not going to do this, but someone should probably look at what cars are in this game and what cars were in the previous game, because I bet that their solution to the problem you're talking about is to reuse a lot of cars.
Sure. Can you refresh me on GT Sport? I remember we covered that when it came out. There was a lot of stuff post-release and at release that people were really mad about in that game, but I forget what the specific stuff was.
I think it was, I don't remember what I remember not much caring for it and it being a little...
Was that microtransaction-y or something?
It had, I mean, they definitely like had a lot of add-on stuff after the fact.
Yeah.
But the main thing I remember is the whole like sportsmanship thing they forced you through. And it just feeling like it was a game that felt like it was talking down to you. Mm-hmm. Like, hey man, just don't go full speed into the first corner and crash into everyone.
I was just gonna make that exact same comment.
Yeah,
that's my favorite thing to do in racing games.
Yeah, and
not appreciated online sometimes.
No, not really. And I get it. Like, but I don't think that what they did made the game feel any more appealing or approachable or anything like that. And it just felt like, all right, guys, I
was joking, by the
people
way,
in the racing game.
Yeah,
like,
I don't do the first turn smash into it. It's not super fun for people on the receiving end, but that was what always happened on Metropolis Street Racing. And what was the one before that came out? The first one was Kudos.
There was MSR, and then after that was Project Gotham for the
Project
Xbox.
Gotham, yeah, Project Gotham.
Yeah, similar. So we're here at the cafe. We got a roulette ticket. And, a new building is open. Oh, hey. Multiplayer. Finally open. And we get the new menu book. We're going to go open our new menu book. And we need to get these 3 cars to complete the next menu.
Oh, Luca seems like a nice gent.
Luca runs the cafe, and he's very adamant that you go collect all these cars.
So weird. What a weird framework for this. I kind of admire I kind of admire
it kind of feels like a visual novel in certain aspects.
Yeah.
I like that they can't show you the cars that you don't like. It's hidden. The silhouettes. You have to find it by touch.
What's this AE86 look like? We'll never know.
Man.
I will be right back, but don't hold me, gents, from partaking in these cars.
No worries, Dan.
We're gonna hang out at the cafe here.
All right. Drinks on me.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jan. This is really interesting. Okay, so you got a new building, and there's one more building to unlock. But how far would you say you're in? Like 10 hours or so, or something?
A little less than that, probably. I don't remember. So compete in official races. So maybe this is like a time attack, and then this is like straight up multiplayer. We've also raised our collector level to level 5, and it looks like that's unlocked the... Rupert here says we can now buy semi-racing parts. Because we own enough cars. He's like, you own enough different cars. I'll sell you the good stuff. This isn't just for anybody. You got to be level 5.
This feels like the kind of like these are the Kickstarter backers who gave over $1,000. Got to be in the game.
Actually,
I don't want to insult anybody. It just seems like such a weird, like this could be without that could not have a name attached to them, and just like, hey, here's a tutorial tip, and no, they have it all like in first person. It's kind of neat. It's kind of charming in a weird way.
Yes. Yeah.
It's bizarre though.
I think look, if we want to get real about it, my biggest problem with this Gran Turismo game has been the same problem I've had with every Gran Turismo game since the Japanese version of the first one, and that's that it doesn't have the car wash music from the Japanese version of the first game, and I think that's embarrassing that they have stepped away from the car wash experience of that original game and replaced it with this. Like, what is this? Come on, my controller's vibrating a little bit, but like, what, there's nothing good there.
PS5 and PS4, correct?
Yes, this is the PlayStation 5 version. Okay. I've not seen it. I've not seen the PS4 version.
It feels like most of these games that are coming out on both are pretty fine on PS4, from what I've heard. People are saying, I guess, except for like Cyberpunk, but Forza Horizon seemed like it was fine on PS4. So, in a way, I've been
Sony's stuff seems like that they have taken care to.
I've been playing a fair amount of Horizon lately, and I'm kind of thinking that a lot of these games, unless they're made specifically for PS5, are going to be like it's. I don't want to go off on other games, but it does feel in a way like some of these games are being held back from real PS5 power.
I wonder. Yeah. Well, we got the worst result possible in that roulette spin, so I guess I could always top up on PlayStation Store. And we've got our, I'm just looking at the red markers here. We can go in and clear these, so that I gotta just clear these dots. Otherwise, they'll make me crazy. You understand?
Yeah, no. This is a lot of this UI is interesting in a way. This is so you can click through to see what these dots are.
Yes.
Okay,
There's information about each car, and they've written text about it and all that sort of stuff. So it's like if you're the sort of person that wants to really dig in on a car, it's got some stuff for you here.
Go one down
not as
here.
much as it could.
What's the supercar right below this? Don't worry about it if you can't find. There it is.
I don't know that we cannot click on this. It's a mystery. It's a mystery car. All we know is it's from France.
Okay. It's the silhouette here is a little kind of. I'm not a fan of that. I think they should be like visible with like a check mark, check off. But that's a choice, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, we can. If you want to see cars, we can go to the used car store, and we can kind of see what's.
Are those
what's
actual
for sale.
photos?
That's probably models, if I had to guess. It's a good-looking game.
Same background, yeah. They must be models, but that looks really good.
Yeah. This car, for whatever reason, sold out. Why show it? Why show it? This one limited stock. What are you saying?
They're trying to ape. This is a Carvana kind of, imitation.
It is.
So
so this stock rotates kind of randomly, seemingly randomly. And then you can also go to Brand Central, where you can learn about, the Michelin Man, but also you can go look at cars and potentially buy them.
Cool.
These are all, I have only purchased one car because I needed to for the next race I was in, but
the Tundra. There we go.
That's not a ton of trucks. I feel like there maybe could be a little bit more variety on some of these production models, and then we get into this stuff. And like I said, I'm not interested in these types of supercars and all this sort of stuff. Some people definitely are, and they always seem from the look of it, but
like a really fun idea. But when you get behind the wheel, they are very difficult to control, especially in a sim kind of thing. Like I can play in Forza Horizon and go 200 miles an hour on a straight fine, but in these kind of sim games, I'm terrible at these hypercars or whatever they're called now.
And I think I just like the idea of taking production model cars and doing crazy cool things to them. Like that's just, that tuner culture thing is something that appeals to me way more directly than racing or whatever. So we go into Lexus here, for example. They've got like 2 regular cars, and then it very quickly just becomes like, all right, here's some stuff that's already, and here's 1 million credits for this car if you want. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Pretty, I guess. I don't know. So let's see. Let's see what this sport menu looks like. The game's not quite out yet as of this recording, so I'm not really sure what we'll find on those online menus. Okay.
Yep.
There's a lot of this too. There's a lot of like, hey, we popped a web browser and now you've got a mouse cursor. You're like, why? What? Why do that? Why are we doing that?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the other menus here studiously avoided the mouse cursor kind of thing, but
yeah. Driver rating. Performing well in sport mode races improve your driver rating. Your DR is restricted by your SR.
Sure.
Don't I know it?
Man.
My sportsmanship racing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So this was kind of the sport thing as well, right?
Yeah. This is sort of similar to some of that stuff.
I could see for some people like wanting to make sure that people not joining up and doing like pit maneuvers and shit. That's an interesting choice. I'm curious about griefing or other ways of gaming the system, but I don't know.
This game is not for I think that though that even if you're, and I guess they need to do something about griefing, but doing these sorts of things that they're telling you not to do is not going to necessarily have you winning races.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, when driving side by side with another car, always leave some space between you and the other car. That's too much for me to think about. I don't care. That's not like that at some point, like that's not a level of of racing, motorsport that I'm especially interested in knowing more about personally. And so that kind of just takes this whole thing and just makes me go like, all right, it's a big eye roll from me, I guess I would say. But, you know, some people are, you know, people did eventually like Gran Turismo Sport, I think, as they added more and more to it, that, you know.
I remember just having the discourse around that game was a little odd. I think at the time that we looked at it, there was a lot of weird commentary about the way, the direction they've gone with that. And I forget.
Well, it felt like it was very multiplayer focused, and you remember, like they're very big, and they have been for a very long time. Like they've been very big on the esports end of things, and also the esport to real sport transition. And this thing has become serious in a way that was you know, kind of surprising. All right, there's a few people here racing, but I don't know that we want to necessarily get into. I just kind of want to see what the options are: practice race, endurance race, race for fun, drift racing. You can set a bunch of limits for your room. Here's our list of tracks.
You should set up a custom mode with the zombies and have them all spawn, and you're in the middle, and run them over for a lot of points, a lot of XP that way. That's what I hear.
Fisherman's Ranch Reverse. Tuning
Bop.
forbidden.
What is Bop?
Bind on pickup. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, me neither.
Okay, so you can limit categories. So yeah, a bunch of limits on like what sort of cars you're going to allow people to race in, which of course you're going to have that. Limit it to same region, all that sort of stuff. So, okay, you can create rooms and get in there, and they're just practicing, so that just means they're just driving around the track, just waiting to see who joins.
Oh man, yeah. Well, it's obviously pre-release, but I'm sure as soon as this pops up, it'll be a million.
Yeah. I mean, we are hours away from that right now.
Hi, Olivier. I've picked up 5 stars. I sound like Kermit the Frog for some reason.
Oh. Okay. Go to the camera menu and then select shoot.
It'll expand your horizons, if you know what I mean, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's Iceland.
Sure. Beautiful country.
Yeah.
So I hear. Expensive.
What better
beer
subject than a Jeep? Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Some weird old car fetish dude, like, yeah, go take a picture of this
Put
Jeep.
some scuffs and dirt on the vehicle. Filth up that car for me. James Spader getting real greasy in the back of this thing. When you've had your fun in the mud, bring up the camera to take your shot. Good God.
We all know what he's talking about. Oh, man. An official World War II replica Jeep, apparently.
Let me see the back of this Jeep.
It is, actually. I was right. I didn't see the year there, but okay. Seen enough World War II movies to know. That winch is looking like
I want low beam lights.
Sure.
And let's have the brake lights on. Light, as it were.
Are you actually gonna? You're just placing it. You're not actually driving it. Oh my god, that feels like a. You go down to the boardwalk and walk into a weird makeshift VR thing where you can take your picture next to a car in any background. Wow, this is. I'm sure the results will be fantastic. I'm just curious to see this setup is. It's an interesting way of doing a photo mode. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Okay. We've got the driver. We've got the thing.
Is there a photo mode in the races themselves?
I don't believe so. We'll pause next time we get a race going. And,
sure.
And
I mean,
check
for me,
here.
it's like always. I hit that photo mode shortcut way too often in some things, and it just stops everything, and I gotta.
Right. Yeah.
Gotta
There's always like a
bounce out.
load with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can do camera stuff with the camera. So yeah.
Cool.
I'm just not a big photo mode kind of
Me
guy.
neither, yeah.
It's
I admire the people who do it well, but I never have anything fun
Yeah.
fun ideas for it. So no 21
square
by
for
9.
Instagram.
That's weird. No 21 by 9.
One for the gram, baby.
There you go. Rule 3.
Set your shutter speed. Shoot.
That looks kind of like a weird composite of I had a feeling it was going to look a little bit like that. It doesn't look like the driver is really lit correctly from the that kind of
Yeah, looks a little funky.
Can't be too nitpicky
you get,
about it, I mean.
you get out what you put in, probably.
yeah,
I'm guessing.
yeah, definitely. Oh man, the word scapes kind of. Oh, here we go.
Scapes.
Yeah, let's do effects. Let's see what we got here.
My favorite is dazzling.
It's goofy, but I'm affectionate about this goofiness.
This is his favorite.
Dazzling. Okay, yeah.
I think it looks like garbage.
Yeah, it does
What the
actually.
hell's wrong with you?
It's like when people do too much HDR on their photos still to this day.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, they got that in there. That's not. I don't know. It's, now that we've taken one photo, we've opened up all these additional spots. We can go take a picture in Miami. We can go. Yeah. All right. That did say that there were over 2,500 spots to take photos in.
Okay,
Though, so
yeah.
that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah, that's
credit where credit's due. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, Gran Turismo has always been the watchword for overweening. What's the word for it? Like perfectionism in a game. This is probably the series that I would highlight as the leading perfectionist kind of. You can tell they care. You can tell they care a lot about cars and making this game as close to the real experience as possible. For
Yeah.
better or for worse, sometimes.
Sure, yeah. They really get deep on a lot of really weird things, and that's fun. But I don't know that it's. I don't know that I just appreciate the driving. So I guess like. I was expecting more, and I've seen some of the reporting, like as we're recording this, some of the reviews have started to hit, and I've seen folks talking about the controller. Obviously, the PlayStation 5 has these cool triggers and all this other stuff. I gotta say, I was expecting more out of the haptics in this game, and I have not. Like it makes me wonder, like seeing some of the people fawning over how good this stuff is in this game in particular. It's making me wonder if my controller is broken, because I'm just not feeling great resistance from the rumble triggers on an Xbox controller have been really good in Forza games in the past, for example, at like letting you feel like, oh, I'm just at the edge of control, I'm just at the edge of traction, it's about to go bad, and I'm not getting that same sense from this controller in this particular case, and it's weird. I don't really know what to make of that. Oh, see, I can't buy stage 3 weight reduction without going all the way down and buying stage 2. When to buy stage 2, we need to buy stage 1. That seems like something they could have just said, hey, do you want to buy these other ones
All
right
three
here,
at
right
the same
now?
time, yeah.
Maybe that was not worth the money there.
Weight reduction is usually the biggest single thing I think you can do in these kind of
Yeah.
games. Always seems to be the good first choice. Also very expensive, but hey.
Yeah, it's gonna take us some money to get our PP where we want it to be. What's gonna be the biggest bang for the buck on these things? That drops it down.
I want to say, I was kind of at GameSpot. I want to say I wrote a walkthrough of sorts for one of these games and had a miserable time doing it because it's not really even for like a strategy guide or something like that. I did one for Forza Motorsport 2. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But like doing a strategy guide for this, unless you're getting down into the nitty gritty, here's what you want to set your camber and angle
Right.
and everything like
Yeah.
that. There's a whole level of either this game is going to be pretty obvious to play, like you can just do the basic stuff and do that, or you're going to be a real, I hesitate to say, a real car nerd and this kind of stuff, and it'll be awesome. But I did not have the time to like dedicate to figuring all that stuff out and writing about it.
Yeah. I don't want to set the toe on a car.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to. That's not for me. It's
It's
never
great
gonna
that it's
be.
there for people who
Yeah.
want to do it, but it's never been the kind of thing that I've been like that little F1 style 0.1% FPS or MPG increase.
Yeah,
so it's
I
been
think they've gotten better at having like a happy medium there in terms of, hey, we understand that most people are not going to want to do this, and so we've got good presets or like an abbreviated version of this that is going to be less crazy, and that's something they didn't always have. What's Matthew Simmons have to say? I was obsessed with the Japanese Touring Car Championship, and because I'm particularly a fan of Nissan, I've decided to race in a Nissan Silvia today. Okay. Great.
So he is, I believe this is, I'm looking him up. It does look like he is the 2015 Nissan PlayStation GT Academy winner, International 2015. So it does look like these are actual Gran Turismo kind of community people, which is cool. I mean, hey, if you're going to reward
it's
somebody
beyond
for
community people, and I think it's like they're straight up racing. I believe that some of them have graduated to racing real cars.
Yeah, looks like this is a real race that he actually won. So that's cool. That's a great way to reward people who are like really involved in this kind of stuff. And I shouldn't be as making fun of it as I have been. Maybe.
I just think the way it's presented is odd.
Yeah, it's weird.
The presence of actual humans, I think, is cool. It's just the way.
Oh,
that
did your highlights, your lights flip up? That's cool.
I have not taken that turn particularly well.
No, some people are better at going down straights, and some people are better at turning. And I think that I'm definitely a straight. I can hit that acceleration button.
Oh yeah,
No problem. I'm really good
win
at
it.
that part. It's the turning and the braking that is the complicated factor for me.
I can sit in a car real well. It's the driving part.
Listen to turn on the radio and find a good.
Yeah.
Give me the aux, man. That's mine. You can
Yeah.
two-player. Just let me pick the Spotify.
Yeah, this game. It just feels very bloodless, and I don't. That's not to say that it should be this bombastic, over-the-top thing the way that I think other games have been. But I think it goes so far in this direction that it feels very cold in a way that I'm just like,
I want a middle ground. I mean, like Horizon 5. Is that what we're up to now? Horizon 5?
yes.
It's so over the top, and it's so much like explosions and confetti and all that kind of stuff, and it just feels like way too much for me, to a point where I kind of put it down after a while. Like I kind of got what I wanted out of that game, and this definitely feels like there has to be like some kind of middle ground with some personality, but not like weird people talking about DJ sets in the middle of the desert of Mexico and all that kind of stuff. That was too much.
It doesn't all need to be fucking hoonigan, like jackass in a car type stuff. I think there's plenty of room for that too. But like, this goes. You know, like I feel like there's a reverence for cars here, obviously. You know, but they are the way they show it. I do not vibe with it at all, and the rest of the game is very good looking, but also like fairly staid, very just kind of you know.
Nobody's gonna rock the boat here.
No, to the point of like maybe being a little dull. I mean, they one point in one of these games they let you drive on the moon for a while, and that was the craziest thing. You're like, what? All right, cool. The moon rover.
That's how out of date I am with Gran Turismo. But is there a damage model in this game now?
I don't believe so.
That was the ancient complaint about this game, like no damage model after games where I get they have licensors and especially the supercar people don't want to have. Oh God, I think I got hit there.
Sorry, I'm rotating my camera.
Yeah, that's always been kind of the one knock on Gran Turismo, which the purists don't mind it too much, because you're not supposed to be getting into fucking wrecks in this game, sure.
But they model things like gas, you know, like the longer races have, you know, you go in the pit and you refuel and you do stuff, you know, that's what this game is, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, you're right. 50% clean race. That is a substantial benefit for not rubbing and racing, which is my kind of preferred way to go. But if I was getting 50% more rewards credits for every time I didn't hit somebody, then I would probably make a pretty good effort not to hit somebody.
Yeah, it's a good incentive, and also that's what they're selling. They're selling those credits, so getting those bonuses seems meaningful. I guess I think people need to decide kind of like where they fall on this sort of stuff, but I always appreciated the ability to rewind in a racing game. A handful of different games have done that over the years, and for me, especially when these races start to get longer and longer, to have like let's say a 45-minute session ruined because in the last 3 minutes I messed up the final turn. At some point, it's just like, I'm not going to do that again. I am not in love with this nearly enough to do that. And so some of those things that kind of just make the game a little bit more approachable, I feel like I'm probably just not going to play a game, a simulation style racing game that doesn't have that sort of stuff at this point.
I've had enough like crashes in Forza or
Oh, yeah, sure,
internet
yeah.
disconnects and like okay you lost your entire like 12-minute race there, like good luck doing it again. Ooh, that's interesting. So here's that ray tracing thing.
If you choose to prioritize frame rate, the highest possible frame rate will be used throughout the game. Ray tracing as well as other high load effects will be disabled or simplified. Ray tracing will be enabled in certain 3D scenes and in photo mode. However, if you choose to prioritize ray tracing, it will be enabled in race replays and 3D scenes. Ray tracing may be disabled in sections where response times are important. So that to me sounds like at no point when you're playing the video game is there ray tracing?
I'm not sure. Go over to hover over ray tracing. There might be a different like thing.
No, it's just that thing just scrolls. We'll have to wait again to read it again.
That was a long line at the cafe, y'all. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I just got cups of water for everyone.
Okay, well, that's why they probably took forever. They're like, not going to buy anything.
They were saying something, and they would only do it through like a horizontal scroll about like ray tracing.
Yeah, it figures. So here it is again. Ray tracing as well as other high-loaded effects will be disabled or simplified in the frame rate mode. Ray tracing will be enabled in certain 3D scenes and in photo mode, however. So no matter what, you still get it in those kind of non-game
Oh yeah,
modes.
you're right. That's weird.
If you
Race
choose to prioritize
replays.
ray tracing, it will be enabled in race replays and 3D scenes. Do you think that's the part where you're playing? Is 3D scene
No,
the part
I-
where you're playing the video
I
game,
think
or is that
that's
just
the Scapes
Scapes?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think
weird.
the Scapes or like maybe even that auto drive segment in the beginning, maybe.
It just like that feels like they just need to do more.
I mean, if
explain.
Horizon is any indication, like I have a PS5 and the only one I've really played is Horizon very much on it, but like I don't know why anybody would want to play in resolution mode. The frame rate takes such a huge hit.
Yeah,
Maybe
totally.
that's their ray tracing is it might be cool to see in replays, and maybe it would. I have a feeling it would affect like the actual. Just from my limited experience with Horizon, like it would actually affect the frame rate so much that it'd be difficult to get used to playing with it on. But
Yeah.
people know my feelings about ray tracing.
So this is, your kind of difficulty setting here for the races.
I like the chili pepper. That's a nice little kind of a little taste of personality.
The opening movie is very long, and the first time it loads, it's also unskippable in a way that I was very.
That was always my
it's just
problem
like
with-
this black and white history of cars credit sequence that I'm just like, I get it, you like cars, but you don't like they tell. They don't often show. I think that's my problem with it. Like they have gone so deep on so many of these different menus to go like, this car does this, and this is when they built it, and this is the history of Chevrolet and Brembo. Do you want to know about the history of Brembo? And I'm like, yeah, I guess, like not really, but like in game, like I'm not feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs more DJ Atomica to narrate the.
Precisely. No, it's. Let's do one more race here. We'll finish up this menu.
Can you
and
turn
then
on the ray tracing and just see before you start this? If you've already started it,
no.
no worries. No worries.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll exit again.
Don't worry about it.
and
It's-
we'll go back and
I was
let's
kinda
find out
curious to
because I'm
see-
curious
yeah.
if that was going to knock the frame rate down to 30 or something insane like that.
Yeah, that's a really quick load though. That's nice. I mean, PS5 has quick loads, but yeah, that
Yeah,
went right
yeah.
into getting into the.
But I feel like, when you look at other first-party PlayStation games and the level of accessibility options that they have gone so far with and done such an amazing job with, this game feels old in that it has none of that. It has the levels of assistance in terms of just the driving line and
No colorblind mode or
the
anything?
standard kind of stuff. But like, it just feels like there's another level of that they could be doing here that a lot of other Sony published games are now doing. And that sticks out to me for a couple of reasons, I guess. Okay, we'll go prioritize ray tracing. I'll note here that we're playing. This is 4K scaled down to 1080 for capture purposes, and then we do not have HDR.
And we'll probably encode this again. So
Yes, this will. Yeah,
may look a little funky. Not too.
it should look okay, but just in terms of like, hey, obviously with HDR, those tunnels and stuff and those other levels, they pop a little more the way HDR does.
Why
do I love the Toyota 86?
Is
I
that
love that his portrait disappears.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
two people to talk to.
It's also used for license tests. Good to know.
These are it's like loading screen tips because they don't really have loading screens on this version. They have to put them in somewhere, but they're not important at all to what you're doing.
These people are much kinder than the other car people I normally see.
Oof.
Yeah, sure.
Oof, this frame rate.
Oh yeah, that is. It looks nice. It looks really pretty, but yeah,
These are some rays, baby.
But here the frame rate looks fine.
yeah, that was interesting. That looks really nice. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The paint on these cars really pop.
The shadows look good.
Yeah, that is nice. And the frame rate is still okay. So I don't in game. I don't know. Like I wish that they were a little more plain in their language around what that toggle did.
Definitely.
Because I might have just played like this the whole time.
I
In
almost
game
wanna-
it still seems okay.
I almost want to revisit those earlier races to see what would have looked different. It did look overcast when you were driving.
Yeah.
Well, if my experience with HDR ray tracing is anything to go by, you really need some muzzle flares to really pop stuff. So maybe if you could fire a gun at your window or something like that.
Sure.
really
Yeah. I'll
get it.
hang on. I think if I hit on the touchpad, I think I can
Oh,
throw a banana peel behind me and.
A little lightning effect maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
Really pop stuff.
Good lighting from these skyboxes too. Like the overcast stuff, I think makes the road look really nice. Like the rain and things like that look good as well. I guess it's unsurprising that a Gran Turismo game looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
Might check
Feels
this
like
out
it
when it
could
comes
be
to
more.
PC in a few years.
this
This feels like the one Sony game they might never put on a PC. I say that without certainty or anything like that, but this does feel like one of the ones that they would maybe never bother to do.
I agree with you, and I don't know that I can quite articulate why I feel that way.
It's an
but
odd
there's-
feeling.
Maybe it's just because there's just a little bit more competition for this style of game on PC, and simulation racing means an entirely different thing once you go over there than it does here.
Who's to say? They've surprised us with some announcements. So
Yeah.
I forget the other big one that has not. I think Ghosts of Tsushima is the one they haven't really even hinted at. But that feels like it will come at some point.
Could? Yeah. I don't know.
Everybody keeps on.
Their stuff in that field still feels so nascent that I don't know that there's
Yeah.
a pattern to draw just yet in terms of what they will and won't
ease
bring
of
to
portability
PC.
and things like that. I'm sure come into
Yeah.
it. But
when is someone gonna finally put Bloodborne out?
yeah, that's the other.
Never.
That sounds like
Yeah.
it'll never happen.
But
But
that would have happened by now if it was.
People want it too much.
yeah, I can't imagine like a PC port of that even being, given the state of Elden Ring, which came out with an official PC port. Like, I have a feeling a Bloodborne thing kind of. I would hope they would put good work into that, but I have a feeling it could come out disastrously bad.
Oh, those are your windshield wipers going off. I was
wow.
getting scared.
That's weird. It turned so dark when you went to that rear view. Like it's a whole different kind of lighting level there. Feels like maybe it's doing some draw in between these shifts. Is Sony
I
blinking
wonder
the
if
lights
that's
at
going to
you?
be the thing because, if we're putting more polygons on screen,
Yeah.
then it's going to have trouble maintaining frame rate with the ray tracing and all that other stuff. So I wonder if this is where, because we've been driving bumper cam, if it's just that's going to be the mode that's
Yeah,
going to
maybe
be easiest.
it's not
for it
actually
to do.
drawing the stuff behind you until you actually pop it out and then it has to pop in real quick. That's interesting. Sorry, need to enunciate a little bit better.
Very nice of them to turn the hazards on as soon as the race is finished.
It's good etiquette.
So that's the end of this menu book. So let's go cash that in and see what our homie at the cafe has to say, and then we'll call it. It's a Gran Turismo.
They've made 7 of these.
It feels like they've made more. I mean, it's weird. I don't know why, but this game. I mean, what is this? Like 25 years of Gran Turismo?
25, yeah. The opening literally says Gran Turismo 25th anniversary. So yeah, it's
And they're finally getting to the point where like the graphical representation of these cars is like probably what they have in their mind's eye.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It's probably not my kind of thing, but it does look like they put a lot of, as always, a lot of effort and work into these cars.
Yeah,
And the cafe
and
is
whether they put
spectacular.
enough into the right areas, I think is kind of maybe not any of our real area of expertise.
shitty parking.
I've definitely seen some
Oh
folks.
my gosh.
Those people, they're parking like they're up in fucking Atherton or something. Just-
Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Oh, you guys printed out that photo.
Yeah. Thanks, Luca.
Thanks, Luca.
I got some stories to tell you about these cars.
I would just love to have it like suddenly cut to like a Final Fantasy 15 food eating or Monster Hunter kind of food creation in here, just as a random like graphical
Yeah.
idea. What are you eating? Oh, top ramen.
Hey,
Who
aren't
are
you
you?
Mr. Tom
you-
Matano, the famous
you
designer
Sarah?
who worked? No, I don't. No, I'm not Sarah. I forget who Sarah is. Sarah introduced herself hours ago.
It's a speed dating event at the cafe, and just
Yeah.
they're all trying to meet each other. For the first
Yes, that's me, all right. Nice to meet you both. Wow, Mr. Matano, it's an honor to meet you. Mr. Sutomu Matano is also famous for having worked on the Mazda MX-5 Miata Roadster.
Hey,
No one
classic
speaks like this.
He worked in Europe and America for quite a while now and goes by the first name, Tom.
That's his first name.
You
What
know,
else?
from the start, I wanted to give this Roadster a timeless design. It's full of that sentiment that compels owners to wish their car a good night. What? I want to fuck this car, and I have, and I will again. Yep. I have even
Right
heard
at
of
this
fans who
cafe.
chose to sleep inside it.
God.
The very first day they had it in their garage. Truly, it's a car you'll christen, throw birthday parties with. I disagree. I think this car looks like crap.
I don't know if I'd sleep in it.
Sarah, of course I do.
Oh man.
Oh.
You want to hear more from Tom? Yeah, I do. Anyway, I got this wedding invitation from a total stranger living in Texas. The
he
happy
looked him
couple
up.
owned a red car and a white car and met each other at that very club.
Did a
I couldn't
background
make
check.
it.
What? He didn't.
Oh, boy.
God.
I didn't go. They had a baby. I made a pink car and sent it to him. Hey, I designed this car. It's cool, whatever. They got the guy who designed this car to lend his face and stuff to it, and that's neat.
Yeah.
But this is insane.
Have the previous Gran Turismos done this? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. And I believe Chris here is gonna like appraise
Excelsior.
the car a little bit and be like, no, now this is a car. Now this is a car. It's very snug.
Tom Matano looks like he's lived a life. He
Yeah.
looks like a cool dude.
Yeah. It was a dark time for enthusiasts.
A dark time for the rebellion.
This was the
Skywalker.
savior that revived the
Jesus
entire.
Christ.
Whoo.
Yeah,
Luca.
you know.
Boy, Luca, you gotta get a bouncer, man. Some of these dudes are really
Yeah,
hitting on
you
the.
just let any riffraff come in here and start spinning their car yarns.
These guys just bought one coffee and have been here all day.
Just cut to
Yeah.
a dude just drinking straight bourbon, like trying not to pay attention.
Well, I got an AE86, so it's time to go drift.
I have a lot of friends that follow Tom Matano on Instagram.
Interesting. We need some French hot hatches. Just
Oh,
hanging out at the
please.
cafe with the boys, talking about all these French hot hatches.
Wee.
All right, we'll pick up our menu, and then that's Gran Turismo 7. I appreciate how it's doing its thing on a level where it's like, hey, this is, but also this is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I appreciate that, but I don't know that this is the car game for me. Even when it comes to simulation stuff, it just, like I said, I used to really hate the Gran Turismo franchise and even the Forza franchise when that started. I was just like, these games are disgusting, and then they started, or not disgusting, but like very inapproachable, like
Yeah,
just
tough.
a hassle to
I
play.
bought a wheel and flat. What is it? What is a wheel? The little. What do you put your
Pedal?
feet on? The pedals.
Pedals,
I tried
yeah.
to learn driving through Gran Turismo on the PS2. I want to say, like, actually, because I didn't learn to drive till I was
Did it work?
much older. No, The suits are way harder than anything you'll ever have from the DMV, and maybe that's a bad state of the American DMV. But like eventually, I got paid some dude to teach me to drive. Like GT was way too hard for me. And I'm not. That's not a knock on GT. That's a knock on me, obviously. Being
What was more
I bought
expensive?
the driver was like $500 or because he let me use his car at the DMV and do all that kind of stuff. He was pretty in depth. I learned to drive in San Francisco during rush hour, so I feel like I'm
Well equipped.
Yeah, well equipped.
Yeah. I'm not sure that this is active yet. I'm not quite sure what Beyond the Apex does, but it seems to not have launched yet because it's just hitting a web page or something. Yeah. I also bought the wheel when Gran Turismo 3 came out on the PS2 and spent some time trying to get good at one of these for a while. And I learned to appreciate it to an extent, but it wasn't until like, I don't know, like Forza 3 or 4 that I think I really, like they hit upon a level of like balanced levels of assistance that was like, okay, like this is now, there's a door for me into this style of game. And as I get better at it, I can turn these assists off and play it the way it was meant to be played. And I had my time with that and eventually got to a point where it's like, hey, you know what? The thing about motorsports is all these real world tracks don't change. I don't want to drive in the Nürburgring ever again. Some people will want to do that over and over again, and more power to them. This game has it in it as well, because of course it does. But me personally, speaking for me, as me, I'm good.
What I wonder about this, because the Nürburgring put on a speed limit, even for like test runs for new cars, which they always went out there and tried to pedal to the floor. They added a I believe, I hope I don't get this wrong, but they added like a track-wide speed limit now where you're not allowed to go over. And I'm curious if GT7 has implemented that as well, or it does actually let you actually take a supercar out and go crazy. Because the Nürburgring is what people use for like, doing, it's the most like prestigious kind of low lap time in racing for a lot of people. I would be very curious. I need to look that up now, but yeah.
Oh, good. There's a spot for me to turn off the Afghan wigs.
There you go.
Thank God.
Is there any
Jeff,
Japanese?
is there any VR support in this?
There is not. There's no. There's currently no PlayStation 5 VR solution at all. So
you got one of those Idris Elba DJ tracks there. Woohoo! We're awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. I don't know. Those all sound like DJ names. Davido, Coffee, More Logo.
yeah. I'm not. I'm not super into the soundtrack, but again, it all kind of fits into the vibe they're going for, with the possible exception of this Afghan wigs track. Someone is a fan somewhere. I don't know.
That's a
I
special
would have
version for the
loved. Why not do a new version of Dog's Turismo from everyone's favorite, Snoop Doggy Dogg?
Please.
Or just put Dog's Turismo 3 back in it, because that, whatever, it's ridiculous. I'm not actually serious, but yeah, it's that's Gran Turismo 7. It's out now by the time you're seeing this, and I will probably mess with it a little bit more just to get a sense of what the multiplayer is like once it is fully out. And there you go. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks,
And
Jeff.
Good. Have fun at the cafe. Don't talk to Tom. Like, just you can tell Tom to be quiet. Don't worry
Should I
about
invite him to my wedding to get a car?
it. Yeah, probably. Yeah, get a tiny little car. Maybe
right.
he'll go. Maybe he'll show up though because he regrets missing the last one.
Man.
Then it's an extra plate. It's like $200 off the top. And,
yeah.
no, not gonna bring a gift. That's
Dang it, Tom showed up and he brought a guest. Oh,